How's it going?
All right, how are you?
I'm good. I struggled a bit with this unit, but I kind of think I'm starting to get it. I mean, I don't know. This one's hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
But I mean, it started to click at the end, but I'm still struggling a bit. But I don't know. I'll figure it out.
People often have difficulty with participles, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Wait, you said people do have difficulty with participles? Okay, good. I feel much better. I was freaking out last night. I was like, this is supposed to be easier. But
So it's easy in terms of memorizing.
yeah.
Like, it's not so much to memorize. Conceptually, it's not easy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of like the opposite of what we've been doing, where it's been conceptually easy to memorize, but there's been so much, or it's been conceptually easy to understand, but there's been so much to memorize compared to this, where it's like a little bit to memorize, but harder to conceptually understand.
Yeah. I ended up having to go back and I was doing like a bunch of the drills just to like break it down. Cause like I started looking at the sentences. I think I got to number 5 and I was just like, I can't do this.
That's exact, yeah. Yeah, I got to 5 and I was like, oh.
It was like so many sentences. So I was like, I don't know what any of this means. Or like, I know what all the words mean, but like, I don't know how they're meant.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any questions before you take your quiz?
That's just over. So like the previous stuff and then the new vocab.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't you take that and I'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Sounds good. Blank page.
Okay. So today we're actually going to start, instead of with exercise 1, with exercise 2. And we're just going to work on that together. And since there are only 3 of you in the class, I wanted to get some more variety in it. I've actually used some sentences that you didn't write. I mean, some sentences that were submitted last year for a different class. So they're all anonymous. Reveal what's yours. I mean, you can if you want to, but you don't need to. And that way you won't know whose is whose. But just wanted to get some variety in there so we could talk about that. Corey is feeling ill and won't be joining us today. So I'm going to share with you a Google slide. Has sentences on it, so we can just look at that together. All right. So, are you all seeing this yet? Rachel's here?
Yeah.
There's me. Okay. So, sentence number 1. First slide. The poet ought to write a book. Okay. Before we look at the Latin, Rachel, would you talk us through the syntax of this sentence?
Okay, so the poet ought to write a book. Ought to is going to be in the future perfect. Or not future perfect. Actually, sorry, I have the wrong notebook with me, so I'm a little.
Okay.
Let me run
Okay.
get the other one real fast.
Yep.
Okay. So ought to is going to be the future passive. What's it called? Future passive participle.
Okay.
And to write is to write will be in the ought to write in the future. Yeah, that's
Okay, so let's just think about this sentence. What is it telling us? What is it talking? What time is it talking about?
In the future.
Yeah, future.
Well, when does he have his obligation?
Now.
When is his duty? Now. Yeah, he ought to. He is oughting right now. He won't write it right now, right? He'll have to write it in the future, but the obligation is now. Okay, so now the obligation is now. In this sentence, the way it's set up, it's an active sentence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you ought something in English. You ought to do something. So who's the subject?
The poet.
The poet. And then ought is the main verb. And then scribere is what? You say?
Complementary infinitive.
In English, it is a complementary infinitive. And then book, how is that function?
Direct object.
Object of scribere. Okay, of to write. So, the first way we would try to do this is actually not with a future passive participle, so it's good that you wanted to use that. But we actually have a verb for to owe or to ought. You can't say to ought, but in Latin. And what is that? Well, debeo, debere, yeah. To owe to do something, or to be obliged to do something, to ought to do something. So is the first option a correct way of using that construction? What do you think, Rachel?
Is like the verb correct or the entire sentence?
Well, let's start with the verb, but yeah, I'm asking about the intent.
Yes, the verb is correct.
The verb is correct. Debeo, debere. Yep, it's a second conjugation. We want our present tense. So he ought. He is obliged.
Mm-hmm.
And then the poet is a subject. Is the poet nominative?
No, the poet's masculine.
Yeah, you're mixing up neuter and nominative.
Oh,
He
right.
is masculine, but also nominative. Yes, the subject. Yep.
Okay.
So poeta debet, and then we want a complementary infinitive. Do we have that?
Yes.
Yes, we do. And then liberum.
Shouldn't that be? Oh no, since it's accusative, liberum. Yeah.
Well, it is accusative. It's not quite the right word, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
We
what
do
I
not go
got.
to a library. We go to a library. What is a liberum? Liberum. It's a free person.
Okay.
So right now it says the poet ought to write a free person, but you can take out that E. Then it says he ought to write a book.
Okay.
Yeah. So. Okay.
Oh, my bad.
So. So I'm doing. So the first one. There we go. Now, what's the other way that we can express obligation or necessity, which we were saying?
That would be the future passive participle.
That would be the future passive participle. Okay. So let's rewrite this sentence in English using the future passive participle translated as having to be ranked, right?
Okay.
So how would that work? What verb would you put in the future passive participle? Let's just start from the beginning.
Scribere, right?
Yeah. So we want a sentence that in English will have the participle having to be written. Okay. Now, how do you rewrite this sentence, the poet ought to write a book, into comprehensible though inelegant English with this having to be written as part of it?
Are you saying in English or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in English first.
Has to write.
Well, has to write. Well, doesn't have having to be written in. We need some sort of sentence that will literally have the phrase having to be written.
Okay.
So, first of all, what is our main verb? Is, was, will, be, what? What tense are we talking? What time are we talking?
Having to be written.
Mhm.
Future perfect.
Well, so the obligation is something about in the future, but when is the obligation?
Now. So present.
Is, yes. So something is having to be written. What is having to be written? What should be the subject of this paraphrastic?
The book.
Yeah, good. So when you change a sentence from active to passive, you take what had been the direct object and you make it the subject, right?
Okay.
Because the subject of the passive verb receives the action. So the book is having to be written, and then how do we fit in poet?
By the poet.
By. Okay, so that the book is going to be what case?
Nominative.
Nominative. Nominative. And then is by itself. It's just going to be the verb to be. And then having to be written is another one. And what form of the participle is that going to be?
Future passive.
Future passive. And what gender nominative?
Matching the book. So
Masculine.
so yeah, masculine, nominative, and singular.
Yep. And then by the poet.
We could use a dative right here, couldn't we?
Dative of agent.
Okay.
Yes, we would have to because that's the future. With the future passive paraphrastic, you have to. Right. Okay. Great. That's really a lot of progress. I mean, a lot of work. Now we're on. Now we can write the Latin.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's see.
Would it be correct to use the like and then the poet?
So the ablative of agent you should not use with passive paraphrastic. You
Okay.
just have to use a dative of agent.
Okay.
And I don't know why that is, except that I know it must be something Indo-European because Greek has this same thing, where there's a regular way to do agent, and then there are a few weird tenses where you have to. So, yeah. Okay, so can you write that?
So
You can use those three at the bottom as we send these to help you. The nominative singular book, right?
yeah. I know it's masculine. I just can't remember if it's Libruce or just Liber. If it has the like
Yeah,
US
it's just
on it.
Liber. Yeah.
Okay.
Liber, and then it is.
So book is spelled ER when it's like singular nominative,
Mm-hmm.
but then the E goes away
Mm-hmm.
when
Liber
it's
Libri.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Liber Libri. Okay. So the book, and then we said we're in the is just present.
Mm-hmm.
So est.
Good.
And then having to be scrib. So future passive. So that's the present stem
Mm-hmm.
for the passive, and it'd be past part of the triple P for active. So scrib. Scribus.
So we use the vowel for the third conjugation, which is an E, and then NDUS. Scribendus.
Yes. Okay. That was my bad. Forgot.
And
Okay.
then
So,
the dative of agent would be, what's the dative of poeta?
poetai.
Poeta. Perfect. Okay, and maybe we would put the dative of agent in there, so it's just a little more lovely.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah. Okay. And then the other three, poeta scribere potest, means the poet is able to write, which is good Latin, but not. And then the next one, the poet was chosen or was read, but was chosen as a book. So we have, I think this should have been in some other case. The book was read, maybe by the poet, I don't know exactly. And then this last one says, the poet about to write a free man, but it's just spell check, so the poet about to write a book, which is not a complete sentence and also doesn't mean what we want it to. So these are the two things that they want you to do. Okay, good. Questions about that? No? Okay. Nathan, why don't you look at this next sentence?
Okay.
So why don't you walk us through the English, and so read it out loud and then explain the syntax.
Okay. So, do you want me to read the English first? Or just explain that? So, the master will have to be overcome by the men who have been betrayed if they are going to drive evil from the land.
Right.
So, the master is magister, and that's nominative.
Well,
So
first of all, tell us, is this a simple sentence or a complex sentence? Is there one main verb or two?
There's two.
Yeah. So what is the construction of the sentence?
It's going to be a like the C. There's going to be like if, so it'll be
What's that
it'll
called?
be the condition.
Yeah, a condition. Good.
Condition.
And what kind of condition is it?
It's a I know it's going to be one of the futures, but I don't know
Okay.
because there's the subjunctive to be overcome, and then there's like the will. So I don't know if it's indicative or so if it's more vivid or less vivid. So would you take
Where
the
is
main?
the subjunctive? Where are you getting
Well,
the subjunctive?
to be overcome. Or I mean, no, that's
That's
passive.
just
Okay, that's passive.
passive.
That's
It's
passive.
not
Sorry.
subjunctive.
So then it's more vivid.
Yeah, future more vivid.
More vivid. Okay.
Future
Yeah.
less vivid would be the master would have to be overcome.
Yeah. I was confusing.
Okay.
I was confusing subjunctive with passive things. That's correct.
Okay, so it's a future more vivid condition.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So then you want to start with the first clause? Can you tell
Yeah.
us?
So the first just well, I don't know if this is the right, but I find the verb first or the main verb.
Yeah.
So that'd be they or the master will. So that's erit. So that would go at the end of the first part. And then to be overcome, that is one of the participles, and I wrote down undus. That's future passive participle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, because it's he will be overcome. And then by the men who
So
have
first of all, let's get the subject in there.
so the magister, or something. Yeah,
Master.
master will be overcome by So the men who have been betrayed.
What are they?
So viris.
Well, don't tell me how to do it. Tell me what, we're just working with the English right now. What kind of construction will you need?
So then the men are the object, the direct object.
First of all, you can't have a direct object with the passive. Second of all, who has to be overcome? The master has to be overcome, right?
Okay.
If he receives the action. So what are the men? How are they functioning?
If they're are they the indirect object then?
Do they have to be overcome for the sake of these men?
No. So they're not an object.
No, not an object at all. What does by the men mean? What is that telling you? What question is that answering? If I said the master will have to be overcome, what question could you ask for that? But I would say, well, by the men who have been betrayed.
Who overcame the master?
Yeah, who should do it? By whom should it be done? So that's telling you who did it, and what's another word for the person who did it?
I don't know.
The agent.
Agent. So there
And
is.
normally you would, go ahead.
So there is no object then?
What sort of object?
I don't know. I thought there always has to be I thought there has to be like the subject or I don't know. Never mind.
So no, there does not always have to be any object whatsoever. First of all, you can only have a direct object if you have an active transitive verb. So I am reading the book, but the book is being read, doesn't have a direct object, and I am singing, doesn't have a direct object, and Mike became student government president, does not have a direct object. You do not need a direct object at all times, and even less so do you need a direct object.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so with a future passive participle, what case is your agent in?
Ablative.
Just talked about this with the last. Normally, it's an ablative of agent, but with a future passive participle, future passive participle is not the ablative of agent, but the.
I'm sorry. Genitive.
No, dative.
I don't know.
That was the topic I asked you to read about in Unit 5, which is presented.
I mean, I read it. I don't.
Yeah. So if you want to review, it's on page 88. So the dative of agent with the passive last year. Okay. So dative of agent, and that's all by the men who have been overcome, but it tells you it should be by the overcome men, or by the having been overcome men, right?
Yeah.
So what sort of participle do we need to use to modify these men? Not just by the men, but the having been overcome men?
Future passive.
Is having been overcome telling you about the future?
So then, present passive, or perfect passive.
Perfect passive, yes. The perfect passive participle, having been overcome. Not overcoming or about to overcome or having to be overcome, but having been overcome. Already
Right.
Having been overcome. Yep. And then if they are going to drive evil from the land. So
then,
what is the main verb?
expellant.
Oh, in English, they are.
They're going to expel or drive out.
Yeah. And then how is evil functioning?
It's the main, or it's the nominative noun, like the evil, right?
Is
Like,
the evil driving?
so no, this is the object then.
This is a direct object.
This
Yes.
is direct object because they is the direct subject, or is the
Yeah.
subject? They are.
They are the subject, and what are they going to drive out? They're going to drive out evil, and then from the land, a prepositional phrase.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe that's a little laborious, but that's actually how you have to approach this. Just go through and say, okay, yes, and you do, as you said, you always start with your main verb. Well, first of all, start with the construction. See what's going on. Okay, then find your main verb and then move forward. Yeah. So,
Okay.
how do these two sentences compare? What does each mean?
Say it again.
How the two Latin versions of the sentence?
Well, the bottom one. Well, the first one. I mean, the first. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, what do you mean? How do they compare?
Well, they're different.
Right.
Is one right and one wrong? Or is one partially right in some and the other partially right in other places?
I think maybe.
Just look through it and say, like, okay, the subject is the master, and we have a nominative singular magister in both, so that's right. Then the main verb is, and talk us through that.
So the main verb is erit.
Well,
So
the main verb is he will be.
He will be. So he will be. And then
And that would translate as.
That would translate as erit.
Okay, so why is erant not right?
Because that's present.
No.
No, wait, that's that's imperfect.
Good.
That's imperfect.
And it's also plural, right?
Yeah,
the teacher is just singular.
Yeah. And then you would need the future participle, future past participle to go in front of the main verb.
Okay. And do we have that future passive participle in one or both?
In one, the top one.
Well, not in the second one?
Well, in the second one, but not in front of the...
That doesn't matter.
It doesn't?
No. Order does. I mean, it doesn't affect the meaning. It affects the emphasis, but not.
So you could put superandus anywhere?
You could say superandus est magister or superandus magister.
Oh.
I mean, there's a normal way to do it, and that's the first sentence, but if you want to be emphatic, you can do whatever you want. I mean, within reason, but. The only thing that's anywhere close to a rule about order is that the object of a preposition should be after the preposition.
Okay.
But not necessarily immediately after even. So anything else is just emphasis, colored. Yeah. Okay, keep going.
So then you need the data. So then there's a dative of agent after that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's viris, and that's by the men who have been betrayed.
Well, viris is by the men.
by the man.
And then what's the having been overcome?
Having been betrayed.
Yeah, betrayed.
Betrayed. And that's the traditis. Which has to match viris.
Well, does it have to match it? It doesn't have to look the same. What does it have to do, actually?
I thought it has
It
to
does in
match.
this case.
I thought it has to match the declension.
Remember what did I ask you to tattoo? It doesn't have to match. It has to agree.
That's what I
in
mean.
gender
That's
number
what
and case.
I mean. That's what I mean. Gender. Yeah.
The tricky thing is it has to agree, but it doesn't have to match in that it doesn't have to be the same. So, for example, poe, tai,
No. Yeah. Yeah.
raditi, it doesn't match, but it agrees. Yes, it has to agree in gender number and case.
Right.
Yeah, so viris and traditis do agree, both datives.
Right.
And the second one, they don't agree, right?
Yeah.
Traditi is masculine and plural, but it's not also dative. And then the second half of the condition, if they are going to drive out evil from the land.
So then, well, the top one has a verb. Second one doesn't have the verb in it.
Yeah, there's an ellipsis there. So, so if C, yes.
And it says C, which is if, and then ut, which is like in order to, or to.
Yeah. Okay, so if, and then what tense of the verb do we need?
Future.
Yeah, future indicative. So
Future
C
indicative.
expellant, good. And then the evil is in what case?
That is nominative, singular, neuter.
Why would it be nominative?
Oh no! Wait,
That's
yeah, they is the main sub. So this is the.
Yeah.
So it's Sorry, so I forgot that the and accusative, they're the accusative and nominative are the same. So
Yeah.
it's accusative.
Mm-hmm. And then A is a preposition. Yep. From A or X.
Yeah, from.
And what case does it take?
Why is that? I don't.
No. What case does it take? Prepositions either take an accusative or an ablative. What case does it take?
Ablative.
Ablative.
Yeah,
Do you have
ablative
an
because
ablative?
it's not the. Yeah, that's ablative. Yeah, that's ablative. No. It's got to have the long A.
Yep, it has to have the next one. Patria right now is nominative.
Oh yeah, it's got to have the long A. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, now let's say we didn't want to write C. We wanted, the master will have to be overcome by the men who have been betrayed so that they may drive evil from the land, which is pretty much the same. What sequence of tenses are we in? The primary, secondary.
Sequence of tenses. Try to remember. Primary. Primary is the non-perfect or the non.
Yeah, not in the
Perfect.
past.
So
it's
that's the first, or that's the primary sequence.
We're in primary sequence. So in primary sequence, your purpose clause will be in what tense of the subjunctive?
What tense the subjunctive of the primary? It would be present.
Yep, the present subjunctive, good.
Yeah, present
So-
subjunctive.
The present subjunctive of expello expellere, if that's a third, you can answer this. What would that be? Expel what?
So present subjunctive.
Mhm.
Expel. What's the stem? Expel.
Expello expellere, so the present stem is expel.
So I'm trying to find. EA. I don't remember what conjugation it is.
Oh, I just told you several times. It's the third conjugation.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to. So then
third conjugation.
Yeah, so be
Yep.
a
Expella.
expellent. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Good. Questions about that?
So that's a third conjugation verb?
Expello expellere. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Now number 3.
I didn't even get number 3.
Yeah. This is a tricky one. Okay.
I think mine's all over the place.
Let's just make these really small. Okay. So, why don't you take like 2 minutes and see if you can figure out the instruction.
Okay.
Just focus, what's the main verb? What's the subject? Okay. So, Rachel, what's the main verb?
Of the first part, it would be was singing of.
Yeah, but that's I mean, a subordinate clause, right? While the
Okay.
poet was singing, you can't period that. So yes, that's the main verb of the subordinate clause, but of the main clause,
Was killed.
he was
He
killed.
was killed.
And who is the subject?
The poet.
Yes. Somehow I was just signed out. So I will come back. Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
It's weird. The poet. Okay. And then he was killed. Okay. And then what's the other main part of this sentence? The poet was killed.
By the men
Yes.
who
The
had been
agent.
seen previously in town.
By the men. Okay. So there's your main. What are you going to do with that?
You just went in and out, so I'm not sure what you just said.
I said, what are you going to do with who had been seen previously in the town?
That'd be a participle, like seen men.
Yes, the having been seen previously in the town men.
Okay. Wait, so is that you would have 3 things in that then? Because like the town. then
So yeah, what's the participle?
It had been seen perfect.
Having perfect passive participle. Having been seen.
Perfect passive participle.
Yeah, and then in the town is a prepositional phrase that you will put next to that, and then previously is what kind of word?
I mean, it'd be like anti, right? But I'm not sure like what kind of word that is.
It's an adverb.
Adverb. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now, what are you going to do with the first clause? Because do you know a word for wild?
I do not have it on top of my head.
I don't know one. I've never been taught. So, we got to do something else.
Something other
How
than
would you use it? An indicative. With wild.
Sorry, say that again.
You can't use while because you don't have a word for that.
Okay.
And so you're going to have to do something other than while with an indicative.
Okay.
So what is while he was singing telling you? It's telling you about some action
It's contemporaneous action.
that's contemporaneous with the main verb.
Okay.
And who's doing that action?
The poet, the subject.
Okay. So the poet who is performing some active contemporaneous action.
Yeah.
So what could you do?
I'm trying to think.
So we want a word that tells us more about the poet and contemporaneous.
Oh, I'm thinking like structure, like a
Yeah, I know. I'm hinting to you.
So we're looking for a certain verb.
A kind of a verb, a verbal
Oh,
form.
would it be like some form of to be
No,
and an adjectival or a
it's an adjectival. Yes, an adjectival form of a verb. What's the adjectival form of a verb? What's a verbal adjective? It's another verb.
so a verb that's turned into an adjective?
Yeah, what's the word for that? Nathan, do you know? What?
Participle.
Participle.
Oh, I'm here searching for like a vocab word.
No, I know.
Okay.
So what kind of participle would you want? You want one where the poet is performing the action in its contemporaneous action with his.
Oh, to do? If I
So what do we want? A present active participle, a perfect passive participle, a future active, or a future passive?
present.
Present active, yeah. So the poet singing. Okay, what kind of poet? He's the singing poet.
Okay.
So if you look on page 84, I know that was difficult. But most of the time when we translate a participle into English, we're not going to translate it with our participles, but we're going to translate it with an entire subordinate clause. So the shouting woman departed is literally femina clamans discesi, but the woman who was shouting departed is right. The woman since she was shouting is right. The woman although she was shouting departed is right. While she was shouting, the woman departed. If she was shouting, the woman departed. So a participle can be expressed by a relative clause, who was shouting, a causal clause, since she was shouting, a possessive clause, although she was shouting, a temporal clause, while she was shouting, or a conditional clause, if she was shouting. Participles can do amazing things in Latin. So we take 4 words while she was shouting and just render that as 1 word, the present active participle.
Okay.
While she was shouting is actually the same as the shouting woman departed. It's a little bit expanded, but it's the same, telling us the same sort of information. It's telling us she did it and it happened at the same time.
So while she was leaving, she was shouting, but you could also say she was shouting when leaving, or I get
the
it.
The shouting woman was leaving.
Yeah.
The shouting woman, yep, it's happening at the same time as the leaving.
At the same time.
Yeah. Okay, so back to our example. Now, the poet was singing of or singing about something in the direct object. So what's the direct object?
The ancient empires destroyed by the sword.
Yes, and they're empires that are also ancient, so we need that adjective, and then they're having been destroyed. And then by the sword would be the ablative.
Okay, so you would make some sort of participle out of that, would you not?
Out of singing, yeah.
Oh, I was thinking destroyed.
Oh yes, having been destroyed, yes. What kind of participle is that?
Having been destroyed. Future passive.
He was singing about when were the empires destroyed?
In the past.
in the past. Yeah.
Okay, so perfect. Okay.
So perfect. Yeah. It's, and people have to do this all the time. Say like, okay, actually when was that? Because if you try to figure out your helping verbs, you may confuse yourself.
Okay.
Having been destroyed and having to be destroyed are
Yeah.
pretty close. But
Yeah.
they're totally opposite in terms of time.
Okay. Would there not be I'm in my head I'm thinking there should be some sort of like verbal or I guess I think what was confusing me when I was doing homework when I was
Mhm.
looking at the participles is I was expecting there to always be a verbal or verb adjectival verb something to sorry, like
All
when we say
participles
this,
are verbal adjectives, so
so
come
like
again?
singing poet is like two things, like you have a noun, but having
Yeah.
been destroyed, you have by the sword. So would that
Well, what is having been destroyed?
the ancient empires?
The empires. So that's the noun. Empires is the noun.
Okay, and then
And
yeah,
having
then the ablative.
just tells you more information about the empires there having been destroyed at empires. And then since it's passive, you can have the instrument or means.
So you would put that together like destroyed ancient empires, like all three of those in a participle, or
Well, the only verbal one is destroyed, having been destroyed.
okay,
So you'd have the direct object of the singing, empires, in the accusative plural. And then you'd have an adjective ancient that agrees with that accusative plural.
okay, yeah,
And then you have another adjective, having been destroyed, that also agrees with the noun,
okay,
empires. And then you have in the ablative
by the sword.
by the sword.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So down at the bottom, I guess so ancient empires would be plural, so close, and it would be in so empires is plural. I'm trying to think of the case that would be in.
Well,
So of
to sing of something actually is to sing about something, and it's in Latin you just sing something.
so the direct object. So it would just be accusative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so why don't you, with all those keys, why don't you say, okay, find the subject, find the main verb, find the agent, do those three things first, and then fill in the other stuff, all the adjectives.
Okay.
Because singing of ancient empires having been destroyed by the sword is
Yeah.
just an adjectival phrase, and having been seen in the town previously is just a very long adjectival phrase.
Okay.
But the poet was killed by men. Those are nouns and verb.
Okay. So for the first part, you would have singing of, so the poet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let's just use this top one and then we'll edit it as we move.
okay, so poeta is correct because it's singular.
Mm-hmm.
Singing of empires is in the passive.
Well, you're going to do the main verb first, right?
Sorry, say that one more time.
The main verb?
Okay, so was killed. So in there, was killed is in the perfect active indicative.
Perfect passive indicative.
Right. Okay, perfect passive because he was killed. He did not do the killing.
Yeah, he did not kill. Exactly.
So that would be your perfect passive participle imperfect, and then he was killed. Fectus. Yes, that's passive. Where is this? Okay, so it's perfect passive indicative. Okay, yeah, so perfect passive indicative. Then you use the present essay. So imperfectus s. That's correct.
Good.
killed. So the poet was killed. Would we not have like this singing poet?
Well, we're gonna come back to there, but we just want to get the nouns and the verbs right.
Okay.
So the poet was killed, and then we need an agent, right?
Okay. So who was he killed by?
Mhm.
So nouns, verbs. So killed by the men who'd previously been seen.
Yeah.
So by the men. So
By the men.
Viris.
Um,
I have
but
not
what-
thought about the case. So
What?
by the men, a dative of agent. So
well, not normally, and this is one of the normal. When it's not a periphrastic, we don't have a dative of agent. We have an ablative of agent.
okay. So periphrastic would
Mhm.
be if we were in any of the future tenses, the future participles.
If we had a future participle,
But we
plus the verb
don't.
to be.
So it's
Yeah,
just
but we don't. It's a compound tense.
so or by
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Viris. So wait, what case would Viris be in then?
That's in the ablative.
Ablative? Okay. Right, ablative of agent.
Mm-hmm.
By the men.
Good.
Okay.
So the poet was killed by the men.
Okay.
There's our main sentence.
Mhm.
And now we can add in the decoration, right? The
Okay.
frosting. What kind of poet? What kind of men? How?
Okay.
Etc. Nathan,
Okay.
are you following?
Yeah, I mean, more or less, but yeah.
Well, what is the less? Do you know where the less is?
I don't know. I mean, I just having trouble conceptualizing it, I guess.
What do you?
I don't know. I'm just following, trying to just.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, going from English to Latin, it's easy to pick out like the nouns and the verbs and what's overall happening before you like put the, I guess, frosting on. But like looking at it in Latin, I feel like that would be hard to do. Like I wouldn't. I guess like it's the Latin to English like really threw me off this week, mainly because there's so many like verbs, but wait, they're adjectives now, and then it's like which is the verb that's actually doing action, and things like that.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
just takes
so-
practice.
It takes practice and it takes confidence in knowing that you know your forms.
Mhm.
You know. Yeah. Okay, so what kind of poet was he?
A singing poet.
Masculine, singular, nominative. So we want his adjectives to be masculine, singular, nominative, right?
Mhm.
So he's singing masculine, singular, nominative.
It's masculine, singular, not. We want it in present.
Yeah, the present active participle.
And then that's so nominative, singular, masculine.
Mhm.
Would it be canensus?
No, so actually, you only know the nominative singular form, and it's canens, and you don't know why it looks like that. Yeah, but that's the nominative singular form.
Wait, because that's just like with no ending added to the present active participle.
Yeah,
So why isn't there?
because it's not a 2-1-2 adjective.
But it's a adjectival
Yeah,
verb.
so it's a third declension adjective, which we haven't talked about and we'll talk about for a little
Okay,
while.
so would a
But-
normal like
All the other participles are 2-1-2, and so they end in us, and they do what you know how to do. This,
Okay.
its ending is ns,
okay?
and that's the nominative singular ending. And the other endings are different, and we
So other verbs would typically put the us on the end for nominative masculine singular. Like
Um,
ns us or
No.
No.
All of the present participles for any conjugation from any verb from any conjugation are third declension
Okay.
that you do not know exist right now, and so you don't have to
Okay.
worry about it yet. But you just have to accept that all of these present participles, their nominative singular is ns, and their other forms are different than anything you've learned thus far.
Okay. So we will learn the endings today. Okay.
No, not today. I think maybe tomorrow.
Okay. Okay.
Or, yeah, I'm not sure. Nope, not tomorrow. Maybe Monday.
Are we doing
I don't know.
unit 6 today or?
We're doing unit 6.
Oh, that's
Which-
nouns of the third declension.
Third declension
Not-
nouns, but not third declension adjectives. That would be
Okay.
Monday.
Okay, got it. I was like, I swear we're doing third declension today.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll figure out why that is what it is later.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So ancient empires has to match, or not match, but agree in gender, number, and case. Which it
Yeah. So empires. What case does that have to be?
Plural, which it is there, but of ancient empires,
Well, okay, but this is sort of idiomatic. You sing of something in English.
Okay.
You sing something in Latin. I sing. I sing the story.
Okay, so it's not genitive.
No, it's just a direct object.
Okay, so accusative.
Mhm.
Empires is masculine.
Neuter.
Neuter. Dang it. Okay. Empires is neuter. Hey, I learned these words tonight. Empires is neuter. And then neuter, accusative, plural is the is, and then masculine's os. Us.
Imperia.
Imperia. And then ancient, so antiquia.
Just Antiqua.
Antiqua.
Because it's
Okay.
Antiquus, so Antiqua.
Okay. And then destroyed by the sword is a adjectival verb.
Mm-hmm.
Well, destroyed is. Yes.
Destroyed.
And sing of the empires destroyed, which would be a perfect participle.
Perfect. Past
Because
participle.
it was
Good.
destroyed before the poet was singing of it.
Great.
Perfect takes the perfect stem, so there we got the perfect stem going.
It takes the fourth principal part. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And it's deletus so it's deleta, right?
Yes. So fourth
Yep.
principal part, which is the passive participle thing. Fourth principal part, and then no, that's for the future active. Okay. So delete.
The ancient having been destroyed empires, Antiqua Imperia deleta. Right?
Okay, because like the fourth principal part is deletus, but you drop the US and then you make it agree in gender, number, and case.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's just the present active that are third declension verbs.
Exactly.
Okay, so deleta. So
Third declension adjectives, but yes.
or adjective. Yeah, okay. So deleta would be correct, and then by the sword is and then ablative. So
yeah, except if it's a thing and not a person, you don't use the rob.
okay, you
Ablative
just.
of agent is
What did I
rob.
think
The
we
ablative
couldn't
thing.
use? We were using the ablative of means for this sentence.
Yeah. Ablative of means.
but no
No agent. So by the sword means how, not who. Right?
Okay. So we're not
Mhm.
using, but we're not using the dative of agent.
No, because they're not have a paraphrastic.
Okay. So we're just using the ablative of agent then,
Means.
not of means.
Ablative of means, because the
Okay.
sword is a means, not an agent.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you were destroyed by the sword, not by the soldier.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay. So
Then
destroyed.
do you need sunt?
I don't think so.
Good. Because delata is our adjective, right? Sunt
Yeah.
will make it a compound tense, and then that's everything. So we do not need that.
Okay.
Okay, good. So the poet singing ancient empires destroyed by the sword was killed by the men. Okay, good so far. And then what kind of men are they?
Men who had been seen previously. So seen men,
Yes, having been seen men, exactly.
having been seen men, and then the previously um, is an adverb.
Yeah, but
So
let's just translate the adjective.
okay. So having been seen men. So that's the present because the poet was killed by him at the same time as he was singing, which is or
Okay, so the poet was singing, yes, and that's why the singing is a present. But the seeing, when did that happen?
they were seen previously. So
Previously. Perfect
passive participle.
Exactly.
Okay. So the perfect passive participle of to see is they. Oh, that's the fourth principal part.
Yeah.
Because I know vedi.
Yeah.
Visus.
Visus, yes.
Visus. So we cease.
Visis, good.
So vieris we cease.
Good. And you could also, if you wanted, spectatis. That would also
Okay.
work. Have it at spectatis.
And then
spectatis.
previously.
Previously.
So and ante.
Ante. Yeah.
And then in I don't think we need the sunt here either, because it's just ablative. In town. Opidum. And then in town. So town is the direct object.
Is the object of the preposition.
Yes.
In here in the town.
I was thinking declining that noun.
Yeah, good. So what case do you need?
They were ablative.
Yes, right. In plus the accusative would be into. In plus the ablative is in.
Okay, so an ablative is o.
Oh, yes. Opido.
Opido.
Good. Very good.
Oh my god, that was complicated.
That is very difficult. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That is a really tough one. But I mean, and you see how tricky it is, but also you can see how you can just, in Latin, just draw the attention to the main things, right? We have the poet and the one main verb, okay?
Okay.
And that's the important part, right? The poet was killed. That's really important to know.
Okay.
The singing of ancient empires destroyed by the sword is less important. So we make that a participle, right?
Yeah.
It's just an adjective. It's just telling you more info about him. It's not telling you the crucial information, which is that he was killed. And again, by men, okay, that's pretty important. Now, you want to know the identity of these men? it is important, but less so. So we just make it a participle, and it's Vieris, Vicis, Ante, and Optio. Yeah, and it's just an adjectival information, just more. And so into factus est, poeta canens into factus est. One thing that might seem very strange, but if you wanted to be clear that he wasn't killed in the town, but he was previously seen in the town, you could put all this other information between the noun and the adjective that agrees with it in gender, number, case. And then what you've done is you've created a sandwich. You've said, okay, starting with viris, which is ablative masculine plural, and ending with vicis, which is ablative masculine plural, there we have a phrase. And anything that's in between those words goes in there. And likewise, you can move canens to the end. And then it would become clear that this is all just an adjectival phrase agreeing with poeta. Which seems weird to us. It seems like it's all out of order, and why would you throw that out? But if you don't have punctuation, if you can't have any commas ever, it does help to do this sandwiching. So to put the two things that actually agree in gender and number in case at the two ends, and then everything else in the middle.
Okay, so like instead of putting like the main verb at the very end.
Well, really, actually, what you should do is probably this. Main verb at the very end. But then poeta, sandwich to canens, okay. Viris, sandwich to vicis, and then imperfectus.
Okay.
And that's a super clear Latin sentence to someone who knows Latin. Now, to an English speaker, it's tricky at first. But that's really clear, actually. Because if you put the ante in opido outside, it's not clear whether he was killed previously in the town or whether they were seen previously in the town.
Okay. I'm sorry, so what would be the unclear version?
If you took, oopsies, in opido vicis and put it after, ante in opido and put it after vicis. Then what it would look like that. It would look like viris, vicis, those go together. Okay, that was my sandwich. And then ante and opido, does that belong with the main verb or does that belong with spectatis? I don't know.
Okay. So instead you'd say men in the town being seen instead of men had been seen in the town.
Yeah, so you said men previously having been seen in the men previously in the town having been seen.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. That was, I mean, we just did 3 sentences, and it took us now 15 minutes. But do you understand this better?
Yes.
You do.
Kind of, I guess.
Kind of? Okay.
I don't know.
I would like to do more here if we could, like Latin to English, but I know we might not have time.
I don't know.
Do you feel like you could at least walk through the English, Nathan?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Can we try the next one?
Yeah. Yes. So why don't you walk me through? A war must be fought by the captured allies in order that they may be free.
Okay. So, a war is the same main subject,
Mm-hmm.
and then must be fought is the main. Well, it's broken. Well, let me start over. It's broken into two parts with the ooh.
Good.
So it's broken into two parts, and so the first part, like I said, the subject is war.
Mm-hmm.
The main verb is must be fought. Or
Okay.
be fought. And then this is a what's it called, a dative of agent with
Yep.
passive paraphrastic.
Fantastic. Good.
Paraphrastic. Okay. So war must be fought, and then the agent would be the captured allies.
Yep. So the allies really is the agents. That's the
Allies.
one.
Yeah.
And then
the cap-
captured is what kind of adjective?
It's paraphrastic. It's a let's see.
Participle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
participle.
It's okay. We have lots of words that you're learning in English as well as in Latin, so it's tricky. It's paraphrastic.
It's the present active because it's happening when at the same time. No. It's perfect passive because they have a capture.
Exactly.
So it's the perfect passive participle.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then that's the end of that section of the sentence. And
Okay.
you have the oot, or in order that they.
Yep, a purpose
oot,
clause.
The purpose clause, yes, the purpose clause.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's so they is the subject, but they is the main subject.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe free, that's a subjunctive, so that's the main verb.
Well, what is the verb?
Oh wait, sorry. Be, so
Yes.
yeah, they may be, so that'd be that's the main verb. And then free.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? That's then that's the object.
Well, being existence doesn't take your direct object. Existence doesn't. You don't exist onto something.
Right. So then that means that's the. I don't know. I don't know what.
So existence, being is a linking verb.
Okay.
So it's an equal sign. They might equal free men, right?
Right.
Excuse me. And so if we have an equal sign, what case is the subject? Well, always, what case is the subject?
What do you mean? Nominative.
Nominative, okay. And so if there's an equal sign, if we have a nominative on one side and the adjective on the other side is going to be what case?
Accusative.
If it's equal sign, use math, right? Nominative does not equal accusative. Nominative equals nominative. Yes, so it's nominative.
So there's two nominatives then.
Yeah.
Okay. So free men is another subject then?
It isn't just, it's called a complement.
Complement. Okay.
Yeah. So
we haven't learned that. I mean, have we?
Oh, well,
I mean,
we talked about it the first day.
Okay.
It's something that we have in English, so I guess that was sort of expected that you would know that. But so if I say, who is the manager here?
You can say John is the manager.
Well, okay, let's say you're the manager.
Okay.
What would you say?
I'm the manager.
I am the manager. You could say that. But you could also say, use a pronoun. He is the So I am he, you could say.
I am he. Okay.
And it's not I am him. You might actually want to say that, but it wouldn't be correct because him would be a direct object. He is a nominative. So who is the manager? I am he
Okay.
is correct. So am is an equal sign. So we need a nominative on one side and a nominative on the other.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. So a war must be fought by the captured allies in order that they may be free. So how do we express must be fought?
So that would be the, like I said, the passive perfect past participle. So then you take
No, captured is the perfect passive participle.
So that's the data the data of agent.
Allies are the data of agent, but we're talking about must be fought. This is a verb.
Oh.
It's our main verb.
Yeah.
So war, we want to say, is having to be fought, right?
Yeah.
So est, is that right for is?
Yes.
Yep. And then having to be fought, what kind of participle do we use?
You use passive. Yeah.
Future passive. Yeah.
Yeah, future passive. Future passive.
Yeah, which is not gerendus, but gerendusaum.
What?
So we just didn't have a vowel in there. Now, why is it gerendum and not gerendus or gerenda?
It's got to match bellum. I'm not match. I mean,
it's got to agree
with it. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's what
Yep. Agree and gender, number, and case.
And
so bellum is what gender. What gender, number, and case is bellum?
It's a neuter, nominative, singular.
Good. So bellum is neuter, nominative, singular. So gerendum must be neuter, nominative, singular. Good so far. And then by the captured allies. So by the allies, what case does that need to be? Did you say?
That I did not say, but that is ablative.
Remember, with a future paraphrastic, we don't use an ablative of agent. We do something different.
Use dative of dative of an agent. That's not dative.
So is Soki East dative?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Soki East, and then what kind of? Yeah. I'm not doubting. I'm just getting you to be sure.
Yeah, I got you.
And then having been captured is an adjective, so it has to agree in gender, number, and case with allies. It needs to be dative, plural, masculine. From coptus aum, is coptis the dative, masculine, plural?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Bellum socis coptis gerendum est, and then a purpose clause. So we have ut plus the subjunctive, and then liberi, which is
freeman.
Freeman. Now, what sequence are we in?
We are in est is present. So we're in the first sequence.
Yeah, primary sequence. In a purpose clause, what tense of the subjunctive do we want?
Purpose clause. We want the present tense.
And is since present tense? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Okay.
Good.
Sorry, I don't know if you're trying to tell me that I'm wrong. You're trying to get me to confirm.
No, I'm asking you all the questions that you should be asking yourself as you're.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to ask without prejudice, not Sometimes I ask, "Are you sure?" Right?
Yeah. I can't tell the. I can't tell the.
Well, I mean, the point is
That's
that
good
you
though.
can't tell.
That's good though. Yeah, that's good.
The point
I
is
get it. I get
you should know and not be like, "Oh, she wants me to say yes. She wants me to say
it.
no."
Okay. I get
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Is that better? Even?
Yeah, I mean that one was a little bit easier than the last one, so it's a
Yeah.
little
Oh,
easier
yeah.
to like.
Yeah.
It's a little easier to conceptualize and like see where everything fits. You know, because it's just a lot easier to break down, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just still a little confused. I mean, I was able to get it because, like I said, it was easier, but I'm just confused with like the must and like when you're translating it, like like imagine if you were translating this from Latin to English, how would like we know the must is there? I don't.
So when you have a periphrastic with the future passive participle, so the future active periphrastics have no sense of obligation, but
Okay.
more often than not, a future passive periphrastic will not only just be telling you something about the immediate future, but about some sort of obligation or necessity. So a war is about to be fought is one possible translation, but more likely is a war ought to be fought, or a war
Okay.
must be
Yeah.
fought.
See, that's what I was thinking because it's passive, so it could be what's it perfect? Yeah, it could be perfect or future size. I was like unsure if it'd be like must or, but I guess yeah. Now that you,
It could not be perfect. Why could it not be perfect?
I don't know.
Because the perfect indicative is the perfect passive participle plus the verb to be. The compound tense uses the fourth principal. So
Okay.
gestum est. The war was waged. Bellum gestum est. The war was waged.
Oh, because you can't use the perfect because you have to say was. Okay. Because you can't say war waged, like the war. I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, I think I agree with what you're saying, but I don't totally understand it. So I'm making sure.
I get it. I kind of yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. And then very briefly, number 6
You mean 5?
is number 5, slide number 6. After the war, post bellum, yep, that's fine. Those who had been conquered had neither money nor food. Now it says to use the dative of possessor. And the dative of possessor means you use, instead of the verb have, you use, in Latin, the verb is. So we want it to say, there was neither money nor food to the ones who had been conquered. So, and that's how you construct the dative of possessor. Post bellum, there was neither neque pecunia, neque cibus. Neither food nor money was, or those who had been conquered, superatis, for those who haven't been conquered ones. That's what you want to be there. Okay. Go ahead.
Never mind.
Okay. Let us take a 10-minute break.
Wait, I'm sorry. Why would it be neck then? Why would it have to be neque?
Oh, neck and neque are just different spellings.
Oh, so it's just the same. It's just okay.
Same. Yeah.
So it's same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I'll see you back in 10.
10 minutes.
Yep. Okay, so we do need to keep moving on because I do need to present to you Unit 6, and I only have an hour left. But if you have any sentences that were problematic, you can send them to me. Or if you want to send me all your sentences, you can also do that. And I will look over them for you. But I have limited class time, so we're going to keep moving on. Unless you have any specific questions about participles. The thing is, just remember, they're just fancy adjectives. So they're coming from a noun, they're formed from a noun. You don't have to just learn them, you can form them from a noun. And they can tell you information about what time the action happened and who did the action. But when it gets down to it, it's an adjective. That's what it is. It's not a verb. Okay. So let's do unit 6. So, okay. So in unit 6, we're going to learn the third declension of nouns. We're going to learn infinitives of verbs. And we're going to learn 2 items of syntax, how to express indirect statement and how to express location. And actually, once we've learned the third declension, we will have learned the 3 declensions from which I would say 92% of Latin, into which 92% of Latin nouns fall. Roughly. But just suffice it to say, most nouns are either first, second, or third. There are also 4th and 5th declensions, and we'll have to learn them. But the most important are the first 3. I mean, they're the most frequently used. And maybe something like 40% of, or maybe even more, I don't know, a lot of Latin nouns are third declension. So this is an important declension. Okay, third declension nouns. And so some example lexical entries would be miles, militis, masculine, soldier, soros, sorores, feminine, sister, animal, animalis, neuter, animal. Nathan, what do these 3 words have in common? How could you tell they were all third declension?
They end in is.
Yeah, the genitive singular ends in is, right? So that's how you tell which declension you're in. In the first declension, you look at the genitive. If it ends in ae, it's first declension. If you look at the genitive and it ends in long I, it's second. And if it ends in short is, it's third declension. So that's how you tell what declension. Now you can see there's no sort of consistency about what the nominative singular looks like. Miles, soror, animal, right? They're totally different. And in fact, sometimes the nominative form is just the stem, animal, animal is, soror, soror is. And sometimes it's different. It's not miles, milesis, or millet, militus. It's miles, militus. And so, again, you can't look to the nominative singular for the stem. You've got to look the genitive singular minus the genitive ending. Nouns of all three declensions are encountered frequently in the third declension. So whereas the first declension is mostly feminine with a few masculine, the second is mostly masculine and neuter with like maybe a dozen feminine ones that we haven't learned yet. There are nouns of all three genders commonly in the third declension. Do you have any questions so far? No? Okay. So masculine and feminine third declension nouns use the same endings. So regardless of whether a noun is masculine or feminine, here are the third declension endings for it. So the genitive singular is is, the dative singular is I with an acron, accusative singular is m, ablative singular is e, nominative plural is ace, genitive plural is dative plural is ibus, accusative plural is ace, and ablative plural is ibus. What do you notice about this? Do you notice anything that might make it, might help you memorize these?
I mean, the ibus is similar to the east, the way that the
Yeah.
dative and ablative.
The dative and ablative plural have always been the same as each other in all our declensions. So in the first it was is and is, in the second it was is and is, here it's ibus and ibus.
And even in the accusative singular, it's always like or so it's like still similar.
We have a vowel and the letter M. So in the first, in the second, M in the third. How about the accusative plural?
I mean, it's the but for neuter, isn't it just a? So I mean, for neuter.
Yeah, but let's forget about neuter for a second.
Okay. So just yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean it's the same. It's the OS and the AS.
Yeah, AS for feminine, well for first declension, OS for masculine second declension.
Yeah, and they're all long too. So.
And they're all long. Yep. Rachel, you were gonna say something?
I was just gonna say it's like in the masculine or feminine first and second declensions.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, and then when I'm looking at the book also right now, when you go to the neuter one, it is an A.
Yes. Okay,
and
so
plural.
let me reveal that for you.
So yeah, that makes sense then. Yeah.
In the second declension, the nominative plural is A, and also in the third declension, the nominative plural and nominative and accusative plural, of course, is A. So the same neuter rule applies, right? Whatever the nominative, the accusative is the same. That's the neuter rule. The nominative and accusative are always the same as each other for any neuter noun in Latin. So you can see those two charts are identical, except for the nominative and accusative. In the plural, it changes to an A, and in the singular, we just have a blank because the accusative is going to be whatever the nominative is, and the nominative is going to be whatever the first form in the dictionary is, which can be all sorts of things. So there's no ending you can put it on. It's just a form.
So that's why the nominative singular is just blank, because it's just the first part of the lexical.
It's just the first form, and there's no, it could end in a million different, well, not a million, literally, but there are many, many, many groups of letters that could end one of those. So, okay, good. So, this is the case, but there are some third declension nouns, sorry, talking about nouns, third declension nouns that have more I's. And so they're called I stem. And in the masculine and feminine, just instead of an we have an ium, and then an alternative form for the accusative plural. And then in the neuter, we have ia, ium, ia in the plural, and then a long I with ablative C. Now, you're thinking, well, how will I know whether a noun is third declension regular or third declension I stem? Well, if you look on page 103, for example, the first word of your vocabulary, there's a nominative singular form, animal, and then the genitive singular form, animalis, and then there's ium. So if you have a noun with 3 forms, and the last one is ium, that's just a key to tell you this is an I stem. And so there are more I's in its declension. So, for example, the noun miles militis, which is masculine, regular masculine third declension noun. We'll go miles, and then militis, and then milit is your stem, and you add the regular endings. Militis, militi, militem, militem, milites, militum, militibus, militi, milites, militibus. So, Nathan, what's the stem for the next one? Soror, sororis.
It'd be sore.
So you go to the second part and you minus the IS, right?
Oh, okay. So it's sorrow.
Soror, yes.
Sorrow.
With a long R. And then are the endings going to be the same or different as the miles militis?
They're gonna be the same.
They're going to be the same because you have the same endings regardless of whether a noun is masculine or feminine.
You don't have the IUM at the end.
Right. It's not an I stem. Good.
Yeah.
Can anyone guess what soror means?
Of women? Something women?
It has something to do with women, yes. Okay, so a fraternity is a group of brothers. So a sorority is a group of
Sisters?
sisters. Soror means sister. Yeah.
Oh.
It's all,
They told me it was
it's all
from
coming
Greek.
together.
Say that again?
They said that was Greek.
They lied. Yeah.
It's Latin life, not Greek life.
Yes. And then corpus corporis, right? That's a neuter. You see, there's an N there, meaning this is a neuter noun. So, Rachel, what's the stem?
Corpor.
Corpor. And use that stem for all of the forms except the nominative singular and the accusative singular, which are both corpus.
Okay.
Because that's what the nominative singular is. So corpus, corporis, corpori, corpus, corpore, and then corpora, corporum, corporidus, corpora, corporidus. Okay. Questions about that?
Does that
Real
mean-
quick.
oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the neuter I stem.
Mhm.
I didn't get that down in the book. It has just parentheses next to some of them, but then I saw under masculine and feminine, for example, for the accusative plural, you have es/is. So like, I guess I'm not sure when it should be like slash the I ending in the book and when it's just the I ending in the book, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Reality is trickier.
Okay.
So it would be nice to say that it's just I stems are always long is in the accusative plural.
Okay.
But it's not the case. Sometimes they're long es,
Okay.
sometimes they're long is.
And like for genitive plural, it has the IUM
Mhm.
in parentheses next to the UM.
So the
So
UM means that's regular, and IUM is I stem.
okay, but I'm just confused because that's not the case in the accusative plural.
Well, IS is only for I stems.
Yeah.
So that's what it's trying to tell you. It's trying to tell you just use IS for I stems. But the fact is, it should really be in parentheses dash ES slash dash IS.
Okay, and my question is, in the neuter,
Mhm.
which ones should be slash the I ending, and which one should just be the I ending for neuter I stem?
Those are all just everything in the parentheses is just neuter I stem.
Okay. Sorry, that was confusing. It's just like formatted different in the book
Yeah.
than like the PowerPoint, and then I didn't get it down in the PowerPoint. Yeah.
You can go over the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint is right. Let's just say
Okay.
that. The book is a little unclear.
It can be.
I mean, I can also be unclear, but I think I'm better at making charts than they are. No. So here's some sample I stems. So mons, montis, montium. Oh, Nathan, you had a question about this.
No, I was gonna say, does that mean like body?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you know that?
Like a corpse?
Yeah, a corpse.
Corporeal.
If you are incorporeal, you are bodiless. There's a feast, Corpus Christi, which means the body of Christ. Yeah.
Is it really? I feel dumb for not knowing that's what Corpus Christi means because that's a town in Texas, and that's where I'm from.
Yep. It means the body of Christ. It's a feast day.
That's so Texan.
That's weird. My aunt lives in Corpus Christi too. So
Now you know what it means. Right. So what case is Christi? Christus? Christi?
Masculine.
A case? Yep. Christus is masculine, but masculine singular. What case?
Genitive of Christ.
Genitive. Yeah. The body of Christ. Genitive. Masculine singular. Good. So mons, montis, montium, okay, means this is a masculine I stem. So the only difference is the genitive plural, right? Mons, montis, monti, monte, monte, montes, not montum, but montium, montibus, montes, montibus. Yeah. And then nox, noctis, noctium, right? Again, the genitive plural is different. Now, Rachel, you're saying, but, yeah. So it could be Montes or Montes.
Okay.
Either are possible. And Latin authors use both interchangeably. For no, Montes is a slightly more correct and slightly more arcaic sounding. So it might be like using whence or whom correctly. Like it's fine, but it's some people don't use it. And then sample I stem neuter mare mares. Right, so mare mares mari mare again mari. So not mare, not the short e, but mari. And then Maria, Marium, Maribus, Maria, Maribus. Okay, good. Questions about that? Now, you might think, well, but how did the Romans know which of their nouns were I stem and which weren't? I mean, did they have to look up in a dictionary all the time? How do you tell? Well, okay, there is actually a rule, but it's so complex that I think you probably just want to memorize that ending, okay? So these are the three things that can make a third declension noun have an I stem. If the nominative and genitive forms have the same number of syllables, then it is I stem. So it's parasyllabic. So 2 syllables in the nominative, 2 syllables in the genitive, it will be I stem. Or if the stem ends in 2 consonants, except if the second consonant is a liquid, which is all L or R. Or if it is a neuter noun and the nominative singular form ends in an E, an AL, or an AR. Okay, so those are rules, but are they particularly helpful? I don't know. You're free to memorize that, or you're free to just memorize your individual vocabulary.
I think the first one. I think the first one is a pretty good way to do it. The nominative and genitive with the same number of syllables. I don't know. I like that way.
Okay. Well, I mean, they're all way.
I know. I'm just
You
saying,
have to have one of these ways. You don't have to have all 3 of them.
Right. No, I'm saying I like that. I'm saying I like to. I'm saying I like.
Yeah,
to,
you want to memorize that. So.
Yeah. That's
So, for example, animal, animalis is not parasyllabic, and its stem does not end in 2 consonants, but it is a neuter noun that ends in al. So that's an I stem. Animal, animalis, animalis.
Oh, so it has to be at least one of them.
At least one, but not necessarily. But
so you have to
probably,
do all 3 then. You can't just like pick one to memorize. Oh,
right.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
never mind that.
So ignis is masculine.
Okay.
But it's parasyllabic. Ignis 2, so that's I stem.
I got you. Yeah, that might be a little much then.
Noctium, okay, ends in 2 syllables, CT, and neither of them is a liquid, so yes, but that's feminine. Yeah, so you see it's it's tricky. Okay, so there's a rule. If you want to know it, you may. If you want to learn it, you need not. Okay. So then let's look briefly at skill number 1. Just on page 106. And so miles militis is a masculine regular. That means soldier, so military, etc. Soror, sororis, feminine, regular, meaning sister. Corpus, corporis, neuter, regular, meaning body. Mens, mentis, mentium, feminine, meaning mind, so mental, mentality, etc. And then exemplar, exemplaris, exemplarium, neuter, I stem, example or model. Exemplary, exemplar, etc. Okay, so now what they want you to do is take the 2 and 2 adjective bonus, bona, bonum, and modify these nouns. So take that adjective and make it agree in gender, number, and case with these nouns. Okay, so Nathan, will you start us off? We want to say the good soldier.
So you want to modify bonus to match miles?
Yeah. So what gender, number, and case is miles?
Let's see. That is, I didn't remember. I just don't remember off the top of my head. So
well, you just look up at the the lexical entry at the top of page 106. It tells you what gender it is.
Okay, so it's male.
And it's the first
So
form
that's,
of the.
okay, so it's male, and then that's nominative. So.
And singular, plural.
Say a singular, plural, or singular.
Yeah.
Yeah. Male, nominative, singular. Okay. So then you want to match this to be male, nominative, singular. So then that would be. So then I'm confused. Do you take? So would it just be? It would just be.
Yep.
So would it be bonus?
Not bonus. Remember, matching is a pitfall into which we shall not trip.
So Then you just want to
Agreeing
keep, so
in
then you just
gender
want
number
to
test.
keep it. So you just want to keep it at bonus. Then.
Yes, bonus miles, and that
Okay.
means a good soldier.
Oh, okay.
Miles bonus doesn't actually mean anything.
So would you typically put the adjective following the noun or in front of the noun?
Before.
Okay.
Yeah, bonus miles, the good soldier. I didn't realize this till I think I was in college, and I felt really silly because I've been studying Latin for like 5 years or something. But the name Miles in English is Miles.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, what a stupid name, Miles. Like, okay, feet.
What does that
or,
even mean?
yards. Like, that's a stupid name. Miles. Okay, Miles, actually. I have like a great grandfather named Miles. Anyway, there you go. Rachel, you take number 2.
Okay, so soror is nominative, feminine nominative singular.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it would be just bonus soror.
Bona soror, a good sister. Good. Nathan, number 3.
So corpus is
Mhm.
neuter, singular. Neuter, singular, nominative.
Right?
And then just be bonus again.
Is bonus neuter singular nominative?
No, it'd be bonum.
Bonum. Good. Okay. This is why we're trying not to say matching, right? Because bonus corpus matches, but it's wrong.
Right.
Bonum corpus does not match, but it agrees, and that is right.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I'm getting it. Yeah.
Wait, pause. So
Yes.
corpus
Yeah.
is nominative,
Mm-hmm.
neuter, and singular.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you come to the third declension, nominative, neuter, singular, it is still, I mean, it's, why would we put the bonum?
Because we're not going to the third declension. Because bonus is an adjective that uses first and second declension endings
2, 1,
to
2
tell the
declension.
gender.
Okay,
it's
and then
gender
neuter
normatives.
is, okay, so,
Yeah.
okay.
So, as we saw, we could have a first declension noun and a second declension adjective. But likewise, we can have a third declension noun and a second declension
adjective. So right now, all the adjectives we have are 2, 1, 2.
2, 1, 2.
Okay.
On Monday, we'll learn the third declension adjectives.
Okay.
But so they have to agree in gender, number, and case. They don't have to match, and they don't have to agree in declension, right? They don't have to be the same declension. You can have a good any noun in Latin. There is, regardless, from the first to the fifth. But bonus always has to be 2, 1, 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rachel, number 4.
Okay, wait. Question again.
Yeah.
So soror is sister.
Mhm.
So if we're a 2, 1, 2 for good, feminine, nominative, singular,
Mhm.
wouldn't that be bona?
Yeah, I thought that's what you said.
No, I said bonus.
Oh. Well,
Okay.
good catch. I heard
Okay,
bona.
Bona. Okay,
Yeah.
bona.
Yeah.
Bona soror. Okay, got it.
Okay, so a good mind. What's number 4?
So mind is feminine, and then it's the first lexical and part of the lexical entry. I don't know. What's the formal name for that?
The first form of the lexical entry.
Okay. I didn't know if it was the perfect
Yeah.
or the
No.
infinitive or something.
No, it's the nominative singular form.
Okay, so nominative singular form of mind, and then that's feminine,
Mhm.
and so it'd be bona mens.
Bonamens, the good mind. Yep. How about number 5? Okay.
So that's the first form nominative, singular, neuter, and then that would be bonum.
Bonum exemplar.
Bonum exemplar. Good example.
A good example. Good. All right, Rachel, how about number 6?
Okay. We are shaking things up now. It is no longer the nominative singular.
Okay, but it's still one of the forms, so.
Yes. Oh shoot. So that is the okay. It's
It's the second form, right, of the lexical entry.
which is the genitive
Mhm.
singular.
Mhm.
So genitive singular for military's masculine genitive singular
Mhm.
is just it's I. So boni militis.
Good. Boni militis. Correct. Of the good soldier. Nathan, how about number 7?
Sororos or sorois.
Sororis, yeah.
Yeah, that's female genitive. Yeah, female genitive singular,
Mm-hmm.
and then that would translate to bone.
Bone sororis. Good.
Bone
Good.
sororis.
Okay.
Boni being AE.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boni. Yeah.
Okay.
Bone is the ecclesiastical pronunciation. Boni sororis. Yeah. And then the rest of these, the genitives are corporis boni, mentis boni, exemplaris boni. Okay. Then number 11, Rachel.
Okay. Militi. Militi is masculine dative singular.
Exactly.
So masculine dative singular. So then bono militi.
Bono militi. And those do not match, but they do actually agree in gender numbering case. So that's right. For the good soldier. And then I'm going to skip to 16. Militem.
Militem is masculine singular accusative.
Mm-hmm.
So then that would be masculine singular accusative. That'd be bonum.
Bonum. Very good. Okay. You have all of these, and it probably would be helpful for you to go through all of them, but I don't want to spend all of our time with that since you don't have a lot of time for the rest of the units. Do you have any questions about this?
No, this actually, this isn't too bad.
This isn't too bad. But it reminds you yet again that I was not exaggerating. Don't match, first of all. And second of all, learn the lexical entries. Because corpus, if you didn't know, that would look exactly like, I don't know, some second declension masculine noun. It's corpus corpi. Okay? No such word. It's corpus corporis. But the only way you know that is if you know the lexical entry. So. So then we will return to the presentation. Okay. So now we're going to talk about infinitives. So we've already talked about one infinitive. That's the second principal part. But there are actually more than one infinitive in Latin as well as in English. So in Latin there are 5. I don't know how many there are in English. Presumably more. So the present active infinitive, that's the one with the second principal part. And it means to run, to sit, to look, to bake, right? To run, you can tell that's an active form of verb. And it's contemporaneous. I like to run, right? It's not telling you it's either in the past or future. It's pretty neutral. Then the present passive infinitive is not active but passive. To be baked, to be led, to be heard, to be captured. So she was able to run, active. The beauty of the sunset was not able to be captured, passive. Not to capture, but to be captured by any camera. Then the perfect active infinitive is to have run, to have shouted, to have built, to have heard. So an example, the mechanic wants to have climbed Mount Washington before he dies. The perfect passive participle, infinitive, right? Not to have done something, but for something to have been done. The father considered the discussion to have been closed. And then the future active, to be going to verb, or to be about to verb. So to be going to shout, to be about to rain, to be going to be about to fight. The archivist holds that it is about to rain, or that holds it to be about to rain. That's a bit awkward of a sentence. And also confusing. Why was I talking about archivists? I don't know. So first of all, do you understand those infinitives in English? Do you see how they're present, perfect, or future, and then active or passive? Nathan, what do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. Okay,
Yeah.
Rachel? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good. So an infinitive is a verbal noun. A participle is a verbal adjective. An infinitive is actually a verbal noun. So it has tense and it has voice, but it doesn't have, for example, person and number. So how do you form the Latin infinitives? Well, the second principal part gives you the present active infinitives. The first sequential ends in are, the second in ere, the third in ere, and the fourth in ire. The present passive infinitive, you take that second principal part minus the are, ere, ire forms and add the alternative ari, eri, I, and iri. So Nathan, what do you notice about those forms as compared to the present active infinitive endings?
Say it again for the.
So compare are versus ari, ere versus eri, ere versus I.
Oh, they're the end of the infinitive. I don't. It's the same as the second. It's the same.
So the present active infinitive, yes, is the same as the second principal part.
Yeah.
Now compare the active endings, 1a, with the passive endings, 2a. Are versus ari.
Sorry. You just replaced the E at the end with a long I.
Yeah, and that's true for the first, are versus ari, ere versus eri, and the fourth, ire versus iri. The third, everything is messy, remember, because of that weak, pitiful vowel. So ere does not become eri, but just becomes I. It's so weak. The R is, I guess, weak too. You just have to collapse into a long I. Okay. And then the perfect active infinitive, to form the perfect active infinitive, to have verbed, we take the perfect stem and add ise. Then the perfect passive infinitive, you take the perfect passive participle and you add esse, so the infinitive of the verb to be. And the future active infinitive, you take the future active participle and add in a compound, not as an ending, but as a second helping verb, the present active infinitive of the verb to be, esse. Rachel, do you have questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. So a sample first conjugation, the infinitives look like this. Donare, donari, donavisse, donatus esse, donaturus esse. So Nathan, could you translate these forms?
To present, to
Yeah.
give,
To give, right? And then donari,
donare, to have been given,
that would be perfect passive. You
or
want to be given.
to be, oh, it's just to be given,
Yes, to give, to be given, and then the
give, to be
perfect act.
given,
Perfect active.
was given,
It has to start with to, so no.
oh, to I don't know. I was gonna say to was given. I don't know.
Nope, to was given is not.
That's not a thing, but
to have given. To have
given. That's the perfect active. To have given.
To have given. Yep. And then
Okay.
donatus esse.
To have been given.
Exactly. And then donaturus esse.
To give, or to be
going.
To be going to get. I don't
To
be
give.
be going. Right. To be going to give.
To be going to give, to be about to give. Okay, so those aren't actually, I mean, those are really
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
complex ways of expressing that because we don't use that infinitive so much in English. Okay. So Rachel, will you translate these ones?
Yes. So this verb has run out of my head.
To warn.
Okay, that every time with that one.
So admonition is a warning to
Okay.
somebody.
Okay. So to warn, to be warned,
Mhm.
to have warned,
Mhm.
to have been warned,
Good.
to be going to warn, about to warn.
Great. Okay. And then the third, duke, right? And then it becomes ugly in the present passive infinitive, not ducari, but duki. And then duxisse, and then ductus esse, and then ducturus esse. And the fourth, audire, audiri, audivisse, auditus esse, auditurus esse. Good. Any questions about that? Does that seem okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we're going to move to the two syntactical points. Oh, here's one comment. I don't want you to think about this, but as you're memorizing the forms of the infinitive, I would like you to figure out if you can tell why the perfect active infinitive might look rather familiar. Perfect active infinitive. So write that down as you're studying. Try to figure it out.
Figure out what?
Where you've seen the perfect active infinitive. If you've seen it before, you have seen it. I mean, not by itself, but it looks strangely familiar.
It's one of the tenses.
Yeah, one of the tenses. Good job.
Subjunctive, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Jumped the gun.
I mean, I figure it's one of them. I was gonna.
Yeah. So just go back and see if that makes sense. It will actually make a lot of sense. We can talk about it.
Okay.
Okay. So then, indirect statement. We learn infinitives because to form an indirect statement in Latin, you need an infinitive. So, what is indirect statement? Well, let's first start with a direct statement. A direct statement is an unmediated assertion. The sky is blue, right? An indirect statement is a reported assertion. It is preceded by a verb of saying, denying, announcing, telling, showing, knowing, not knowing, believing, thinking, hearing, seeing, feeling, hoping, fearing, and the like. So my mother tells me, that's saying or announcing or telling, my mother tells me that the sky is blue, right? So the indirect statement is that the sky is blue, right? It's not a direct statement, the sky is blue, but it's reported. Someone asserted this. Did you know the fact that the sky was blue, right? Not an unmediated assertion, was the sky blue, or an unmediated, assertion, the sky was blue, but did you know that assertion is true? Okay, so how do we form an indirect statement? In English, you have a main verb, the verb of seeing, knowing, thinking, telling, etc. And then that, the word that, and the direct statement repeated. So the sky is blue, I know that the sky is blue. We don't change anything. You are here, I know that you are here. We can sometimes change things, but we'll get into that later. In Latin, you have a main verb, and then you take your indirect statement and you make whatever was the subject into an accusative, and you take the main verb, make it an infinitive. So the first sentence, Regina ambulat, Nathan, what does that mean?
The queen walks.
The queen walks. The indirect statement, Video reginam ambulare, how could you translate that?
I see the queen walking.
I see not the queen walking, because that would be a participle, but I see that
That the queen walks.
the queen walks, right. So we're going to translate that infinitive into English as a main verb, as an indicative. I see that the queen is walking, or that the queen walks. The direct statement, puer in via clamavit. Rachel, what would that be?
The boy is shouting in the road.
The boy shouted in the road.
In the road.
And then dicunt puerum in via clamavisse. Dicunt is they say.
They said the boy.
They say.
Okay.
It's
but
present.
The clamavisse is perfect. So that's past.
Yes.
They
so
say
they are saying that in the past
the boy was shouting.
Yeah.
And they were
shouted in the road. They say that yesterday the boy shouted in the road.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be the boy had shouted?
It's a perfect participle, a perfect infinitive, so not necessarily.
Okay.
We'll talk about exactly how to translate this. Okay. So let's look at drill number 3. Stop sharing. So vidimus famam reginae esse magnam. That means, Nathan, you're going to take a stab at starting that?
So we see.
Mm-hmm. And then you have famam, which is accusative, and esse, which is an infinitive.
I just forgot what famon means.
Fama means fame or rumor or
Oh,
report, reputation.
So we see the
No, so
famous queen. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I'm going to stop you right there. So you know this construction is an indirect statement. And the way we do indirect statements is we have to add the word that. Translating an indirect statement from Latin, you have to add into English that.
Okay. So
So
we see that
mhm,
the famous queen.
not claram reginam, but the famam, that's a noun. And then regina is
The fame of the queen
esse magnam.
is great.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. We see that the fame of the queen is great.
Okay.
Rachel, will you take number 2?
Okay, so cognover artis incolas reginae multam pecuniam debere. So the first verb to think. So main verb cognover perfect sum, and then the imperfect. So that'd be pluperfect. Pluperfect active indicative. So, and then you. So you, or no, eratis is.
Yeah. Artis.
Artis?
Tis.
That'd be plural, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you all.
Yeah.
You all fought. So essay is your infinitive. So then in the middle you have the accusative subject, the war with diligence. I'm sorry, I jumped down.
Yeah, okay. So cogno veratis, you all had learned.
Okay. So
you all had learned. And then we have, where's our accusative and where is our infinitive?
So our infinitive is, I think it's debere, which would be the present passive infinitive.
Present active.
Present active.
Debere. It's the second.
Debere,
not
yeah.
Debere, but debere.
Okay, so this.
So the infinitive is debere, and then the accusative subject will often be at the beginning.
Okay, so we learned that they give inhabitants.
Aptid incolas is accusative, but that's the accusative subject. So we had learned.
We had learned that the inhabitants are the accusative. So they're not that. So like if the inhabitants did the giving, then they would be the nominative, the subject.
In every other construction, yes.
Okay.
But in indirect statement, the subject of the infinitive is an accusative.
Okay. Okay. So the inhabitants of the island
Debere
gave.
Debeo means to owe.
Oh, sorry.
Not dare, but debere. So we have learned that the inhabitants of the island owed reginae multam pecuniam.
The queen much money.
Exactly.
So then if you took the we have learned, it's just the inhabitants of the island owe the queen much money.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now that was the direct statement. Good. Nathan, will you take number 4?
Yeah. He responds that war.
I want to skip that one.
Sorry. I understand that the sailors Um, at the sailors' villa is, I forgot what that verb is.
So the sailors is the accusative in the accusative case, right?
Yeah.
And they're the subject. What did they do or have done to them? Well, I understood that the sailors perdidisse,
I say I don't remember what that verb is.
perdere, perdition,
See.
I don't remember.
destroy, to destroy.
So the sailors. So I understand that the sailors destroyed the house. Or
Destroyed. No, yeah, destroyed because it's a perfect infinitive.
destroyed the
Perdidisse.
villa or house.
The villa or country house. Good. So look at that one. Are you frustrated about anything about indirect statement?
So I'm just gonna be. I mean, it makes sense when we're doing it in the drill, but I know when I go to the exercise, I'm not gonna know. I'm gonna just like it's gonna be so many words. I'm just gonna like be like, I don't know how this is a direct statement.
So what you need to do is see, okay, where's the main verb? That's going to be infinitive. And then you need to find an accusative subject.
Okay.
Now, what is potentially confusing about having an accusative as the subject?
It's not normal.
Well, yeah, it's not normative. Okay, that's confusing in and of itself. But what is it? Could it be confused with?
It can be confused with a indirect object.
A direct object.
A direct object, yeah. It can be confused with an object.
Yes, a direct object is, so it always has to be in the accusative.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what, it could be confused.
So yes, and in fact, you can't for sure 100% tell them apart because they're both in the accusative. Now, generally, the subject and the direct object will be in the middle before the infinitive because that's regular Latin word order: subject, direct object, verb. But as you know, we can play fast and loose with word order in Latin. So 100% confidence can only be in context. Theoretically, sentence 4 could say, I understand that the country house killed the sailors instead of the sailors destroyed the country house. That's actually theoretically possible because Whelan could be the accusative subject and Nautos to be the accusative direct object, or Nautos could be the accusative subject and Whelan could be the accusative direct object. So,
like you said, it's got to be context then.
It's got to be context. Yeah.
I mean, that could make sense if like the house collapsed.
Yeah, it could. I could theoretically. One could destroy. Yes, they could both destroy. So that's why you have to rely on context, which you don't have in these sentences. So you may think like, well, there are two possible options. Okay, just pick one. Generally, whatever's first is the subject, and the second one is the direct object. So follow that rule, especially for this textbook. But just know that if you ever happen to start reading poetry, all these rules go out the window. I mean, they don't, but you know, elegance, beauty is what we're after, and maybe not simplicity for the students of Latin.
All right.
And then Rachel, you're like, okay, never reading poetry. No,
I know.
You need to read
please, not
poetry.
yet.
It's so worth it. But
okay,
it will
5
challenge
or
you.
6?
6, please.
6. Okay. So sentiunt honestos malum e terra pellere non posse.
Okay. What do you notice about that?
That is weird infinitive, or it's
Which
just
is What's the infinitive?
If
Say what you're thinking. Yeah.
Pelere?
Pellere is an infinitive. Posse is also an infinitive, right?
Okay,
That's posse and
I wasn't sure
posse.
if it was messing up, or not messing up, but like intentionally changing the word order so the infinitive wasn't at the end.
No, so the infinitive is at the end, actually.
Okay.
Non posse is your main infinitive. And the pellere is a complementary infinitive to another infinitive.
Oh, lovely.
So, but how,
Okay.
you're like, oh no, how do I know? Well, generally,
At the end.
primary infinitive is going to be at the end, and the complementary one will be
Okay.
before it. So,
Okay.
you can do it.
My vocabulary just runs out of my head when I'm put on the spot, apparently. So,
that's fine.
Posse. Or we can start with the first. So, sentient
Mm-hmm.
would be which is to feel. So, they feel that respectable
Yeah.
men,
They feel
or respectable just people.
People, men, probably because it's masculine, but it could be people. Okay, so they feel that honorable men, what was their verb? This
My gut
one.
wants to, are able to, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Non-posse.
So they feel that honorable men are able to, and
well, they non-posse
are not able to, and then here's our other infinitive.
Are not able to do what?
Pelere.
Expellere.
To push out, drive out the bad men from the land.
Yes, either a bad man or evil thing.
Evil thing. Okay, right. That's singular. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Good. Really good. Okay. And then we have one more topic.
Okay.
Which is how to express location in Latin. So, motion and location. So motion, there are three types of motion. There's motion, three types of location / motion. There's motion towards, motion away from, and location, place where, right? There's place to which, place from which, and place where. Place to which, using the correct but somewhat archaic whither, or place to which. So normally to express a motion towards a place, you use the preposition ad or in plus an object in the accusative case. Ad plus the accusative, or in plus the accusative. Towards, the villa, or towards Italy, or into whatever, the water, into the waves, in undas. But with the names of cities, towns, and small islands, as well as the words domus and rus, domus meaning home, rus being country, the simple accusative case suffices. So we are walking ad villam, to the villa, but Rome is the city. So ambulamus Romam, to Rome. Brundisium, let's say that's a town. Well, I think it might be a city, but let's call it a town. Brundisium venerunt, they came to Brundisium. Carthaginum vella dabat, he was setting sail to Carthage. That's a city again. Is that clear, what I just said?
No.
No. Okay. Explain it. Can you explain why?
Yeah, so what do you mean by simple accusative case versus just accusative case?
I mean just accusative case. I mean without a preposition.
Okay. Okay.
So you don't say ad Romam ambulamus. You just say Romam ambulamus.
Okay.
Or if we were setting sail to Sicily, Sicilia,
Mhm.
Siciliam vela damus. Right? We are setting
Okay.
sail to
So
Sicily.
it's just for like cities. Okay. So you're going to
Just for
specific.
cities, towns, and small islands. So Sicily, probably a small island. Australia, not a small island.
What about
No,
like
I bet.
what about countries? Like if like going to Gaul, if like you're eating Caesar or something.
Then you just use odd or in.
Okay. So
Right?
countries, no, but cities and towns, you
Yes. Cities, towns, and small islands. Now, you're like, well, how small is small? And I will say, well, I don't know. So, yeah.
like what about Crete? What is what would that count?
The Bahamas.
I'm kidding. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the Romans knew. Like, there's a certain, like, it can only have 5 or fewer cities, or it has to be
I know,
circumnavigable in a day, or something, you know, like, but whatever. It has small, whatever small means. Cities, towns, and small islands, whatever that means. And then the words domus, home, and rus meaning countryside. So rustic means home country.
So what if
Okay.
it's island general? Like,
Just you want to say, I'm setting sail to an island?
or like to the island.
Yeah, you just say ad insulam,
Okay.
to the island. Yeah, it's just the names of cities, towns, and small islands.
Okay.
Okay, so motion from somewhere, place from which, or motion, or place whence, to use the archaic but correct, whence. So normally you use the prepositions ob or ex or de plus an object in the ablative case. We are walking a patria, out from our country land. We are sailing away a insula, away from the island, ex insulum, ab insula. But with the names of cities, towns, and small islands, and the words domus and rus, you don't use a preposition, you just use the ablative case by itself. So albula ambulamus, we are walking from our country home, but Roma ambulamus, we are walking away from Rome. Brundisio venerunt, they came from Brundisium. Cartagine vela dederat, he had set sail from Carthage. Carthago is a third declension, as you can see. That's the ablative of the third declension. Is that clear so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we had motion towards and then motion away from. Now we need to talk about location. How do you say something's, you know, in somewhere, where it is? So normally what do we do? I know I haven't changed this slide, but how you say, for example, I was in the country home or on the island. What do you do?
Just in
In
and
plus the
ablative.
ablative, yeah. But with cities, towns, and small islands, as well as the words domus and rus, now we can't use the ablative because that could mean away from. So we have a case called the locative case. And this used to be a case that was in Indo-European, and it totally died in Greek. And it only survives in Latin for the names of cities, towns, small islands, and the words domus and rus. You cannot have a locative case for any other word in Latin. So I told you it's very rare. Okay. So in villa sunt, they are in the villa, but Romae erimus, we will be in Rome. Brundisii erat, he was in Brundisium. Villa est Cartagine, the village is, the country home is in Carthage. Okay, so what is the locative case? Well, in first declension, it's singular I, plural is, second declension e, plural is, and third declension et or e, and ibus. So basically, it's identical to the ablative in the plural forms, as well as the third declension singular form, and then identical to the genitive in the first declension. and second crunch in singular forms. No. Am I ever going to have a locative on a chart? No. Probably you'll have a couple of exercises here where you'll be asked to produce a locative, and that's good. You do want to have a sense of what it is. But really, most of the time you just want to know that if you run into a name of a city, town, or small island, you should watch out because it could be in the locative case. So if it's without a preposition, right? If it's accusative, it will be placed towards. If it's ablative, it's placed away from. And it's in the locative, which might look like the genitive, or sometimes like the ablative, then it means in a place. But just for the names of cities, towns, and small islands, as well as the words domus and rus.
Okay.
Yep, I know. It's human language, and so although Latin is a very orderly language in most cases, there are still these little hints that it was made by actual humans who are a little less orderly than you would get the impression from Latin.
Quick question. So for motion
Yeah.
from, I don't have written down plus the words domos and rus. Is that
Yes.
okay?
There. Yeah, that's all. Let's see. The location or motion without a preposition is for the names of cities, towns, small islands, and the words domus and rus.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow
Sounds good.
in Chicago. Actually, well, I will be in Chicago.
Oh, fun.
I
I'm
live
going
here.
to
That's
conference.
where, that's where I live.
I will be downtown at a hotel where there is the North American Patristic Society conference. So,
Have fun.
thank you. All right.
I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.